Hi, I'm Mary Valamides, and I'm going to share with you our second 6 weeks mathematics curriculum previews. This PowerPoint will be in Canvas if you'd like to revisit some of these slides. This is a list of the strategies you'll be using, as the focus for this 6 weeks will be multiplication and division. Here's a list of the multiplication text, and then this is a list that contains multiplication and division text. So let's begin with our multiplication concepts. Whenever you teach multiplication, you always have to start with the concrete manipulatives so that the kids can have a conceptual understanding. Second grade should have ended the year teaching multiplication, so hopefully this will be a quick connection to prior learning. And then you can move to the pictorial, which would be just showing pictorial versions of what is happening with multiplication, and then to the abstract where you just have numbers. So some of the strategies that are used in our text are number lines, arrays, and area models, which we definitely want to address when we're teaching multiplication. But another form would also be repeated addition. In your unit overview for this 6 weeks, you'll notice that there's a list of manipulatives and strategies on how to use these manipulatives. Some concrete manipulatives you can use are the Cuisenaire rods and the two-color counters. You could use two-color counters by making rows of 6 or 3 sets of 6. So here's just a demonstration how they can be used. And also when you say 3 rows of 6, that's 3 times 6. If it was 6 times 3, it would have been 6 rows of 3 instead. Now, after you make sure the kids have a good understanding conceptually of multiplication, then we can move to the pictorial representation. And here are some examples of using pictorial representation. So looking at it closely, you can use color tiles to form area models where kids can see that there are 3 rows of 6. Number lines would be the next step. Notice the bottom one where it says 4 times 3, that there are 4 groups of 3 jumps. These are this is a really good way to start teaching number lines, but then notice the very first one where they use straight lines. This is one of the methods they used on our STAR test. So you want to make sure the kids are exposed to both of these. Then you're able to transition to the abstract version where you could use a hundreds chart or introduce them to the thought of repeated addition and using flashcards. Notice you would never want to start with flashcards, but you would want to definitely use those towards the end so the kids can get more experience and practice with these facts. You have triangular flashcards in Texas Go Math resources. So now for division concepts. Here are the texts that you'll be covering for division. Notice there are 2 types of division, so we need to make sure the kids are exposed to both, where you partition into equal shares or you're sharing equally. Now, one way to do this is using strip diagrams. Please make sure the kids know how to use strip diagrams because that is definitely a method that is mentioned in our text. So if we have 32 divided by 8, we are dividing 32 in groups of 8, and there are 4 groups or 4 rows. Now, some basic facts that the kids need to know by October 21st. Notice stage 3 is the mastery level, so they should have already learned how to add and subtract to 20 with automaticity in 2nd grade, so you're maintaining that particular fact. And multiplication facts to 10 times 10, that's what they're going to be learning this 6 weeks. And composing and decomposing numbers to 100,000, which you've already done at the beginning of this year, and then maintaining 3-digit addition and subtraction to 1,000. So if the kids if you don't feel like they really have a good mastery of these concepts, these might be the ones you want to make sure and put in your workstations. These are the concepts that the kids will be learning for January 13th. So you have a quick preview, because after the first 3 weeks of this second 6 weeks, then this is where you're aiming for January 13th. Online resource that's free to you is Math Match, where the kids can choose either easy, medium, hard, or any operation they want to choose. and go ahead and use their facts, learning the multiplication facts while playing a game. This is one example of a screen that you will see. Now, this is a good opportunity for you to share in the discussion section right under the PowerPoint that some multiplication resources that you use or division resources you use so that you can learn from each other what's available. Some assessments that you'll be doing this year, of course, CBA and STAR. CBA will be on November the 14th, which is the first day of the third 6 weeks, and STAR will be May 8th. Now, the reason why I really mention this to you is that the grids will be on both CBAs. If you haven't used the grids yet, please make sure the kids are exposed to them. Historically, we don't do very well with grids, so I just want you to be aware that they are in Eduphoria. And I'm not sure if they're struggling with grids because it's more of an open response type of situation, or if it's they really don't know how to grid an answer. Notice third grade is the first grade level that does this, so the second grade has not done this with the kids. So please make sure you practice with this before the kids have the CBA. So here are some items from STAR from 2016. I want you to really notice the format of the answer choices. These are the items that are aligned to the text that you're teaching this 6 weeks. So 3.4H, notice it's mostly algebraic than verbal because we see operational signs. Again, we have algebraic. Again, we have our operational signs in these answer choices. Numeric, because we just have numbers. And then here on our very low scoring item, we have a visual. And notice our visual is a diagram. On this particular item, Edward made 26 hamburgers. He used a total of 78 pickle slices on the hamburgers. He put the same number of pickle slices on each hamburger. Which diagram shows how to find the number of pickle slices Edward put on each hamburger? Notice this very first one has 78 pickle slices. And then we have 26 boxes going across, demonstrating the 26 hamburgers, or representing the 26 hamburgers. And what we really need to know is how many pickle slices are on each of the hamburgers. So that's what those question marks are representing. So this first answer choice is the correct answer. This is one example of why we really need to get the kids to understand how to use diagrams. Now notice this particular item is a visual, but I really want you to look at the not in the question. Notice it is not capitalized. It is only bold-faced. So our answer choices were just verbal, algebraic, visual, and numeric. So I want you to really consider your formative assessments that you possibly create for the kids, and do they have a variety of answer choices? So we want to make sure the kids are introduced or exposed to as many as possible. Vocabulary for this 6 weeks. These are words you will review because the kids may have had them last year or the first 6 weeks. And these are the words that will be new to the kids. So these are the words that you would want to focus in on whenever you're developing your activities. So one activity you could use is a word wall activity where you say, I'm thinking of a word that begins with the letter M and ends with the letter N. What is that word? And of course it would be multiplication. Or you could try to think of another word that might talk about, for example, product for the last one. I'm thinking of a word that describes the answer of 2 factors multiplied together. And of course that would be product. Another activity you could play with your class is tic-tac-toe. Thank you for listening to the Curriculum Preview for Math. Please call me if you have any questions or email me. I'll be glad to help. Have a great day. Bye.